right, welcome to the book club. I'm Dylan, here with a man who's opened the gate, been to Obatium, and all he got was a shirt that said, I've been to Obatium, and all I got was this lousy shirt. Keith, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I don't have anything for you after that great opener.
All right, here at the Buddy Book Club, we're bringing out some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing The Will of the Many by James Islington. That is the easiest of all the names we're going to discuss. It's part of the Hierarchy series. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to any past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, slide our DMs on X or Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. You listen to us, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Please download, subscribe, 5-star review, please, and thanks. Keith, 459 on Goodreads. 459. You brought this to my attention, and you said, we will do The Will of Many. Where did you hear about it, and why did we do this book?
Yeah, I think pretty much everywhere in social, everywhere I was seeing, people are like, this is Red Rising. So you're going to throw that out there, then we're going to have to do the book, unfortunately. I mean, or fortunately. So
you're on hip social channels that tell you that Red Rising is Will of the Many.
I also spoke to someone that's very... he really liked Dune, and I was like, oh, I'm more of a Red Rising guy. He's like, oh, you'll probably like Will of the Many then. So, which is basically, I feel like a way to talk down to someone of like, oh, you can't handle Dune? You can probably handle this book then.
You don't like Dune, but you like Red Rising? Have you read Hop on Pop? You dumb motherfucker.
Yeah. You know Bluey? It's a...
Okay, cool. Well, do you have a book report for us before we get into the categories?
Yeah, I got a quick one.
Okay, go for it.
The Will of Many is a book that takes its title a lot more literal than I was expecting. In this epic fantasy novel, the society is an actual pyramid structure where people's will, aka energy or strength or mojo, can be given to others, with those at the top of the pyramid having more will than the 1997 album Big Willie Style, and those at the bottom left slower and more impotent than me after 12 Bud Lights. Many have described this book as exactly the same as Red Rising, which is basically like comparing a quarterback to Tom Brady. A lot to live up to. I found it more like Mistborn meets Name of the Wind. Overall, if you're looking for an enjoyable, immersive fantasy book, this is the one. It went by fast. It ended up being like seeing Tenant in theaters, that movie.
Yes, 100%.
I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I was happy I was there. So, yeah.
It's so funny. Okay, good book report. I'm going to give it an A-. I liked it.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
It didn't have as many quips, and I was wondering, is impotent when you can't...
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't finish that.
Gotcha.
Just yes.
All right. So, full disclosure, we read this book I finished it a couple of weeks ago. Keith finished it like a month ago. So, it's not super duper fresh on his mind. It's a little fresher on my mind, but I still needed a refresher. And I also needed some more explanation into the whole thing. And then as I was looking into it, I was thinking, this kind of reminds me of when I'm watching a movie like Tenant. That's what came into my head, where I knew I liked it, but I didn't really get it, or I didn't get all of it. So I needed to look up on the internet what it all means. And I have a mixed relationship with that. Sometimes I think, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't really notice that. It's going to be more fun on a rewatch or whatever the case is. And then other times I'm like, did I really like it if I needed to look up all this stuff? Or am I just an idiot? One or the other. But it's easier with a movie to say, oh, cool, like that's going to be more fun on a rewatch than a 24-hour audiobook. It is funny because the Red Rising corollary too, I guess, because there's a school and he like Viz.
Well, it's not sci-fi though, so which is what Red Rising is. So that's where like it's fantasy, not sci-fi. So it's like to me it's completely different. But I don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of people were also saying, because I went on Goodreads and was looking through it, where people say, "Oh, if you like Red Rising and you like the Hunger Games," I'm like, the Eutychium or the whatever the Altium, whatever the thing is that happens at the end. It's like 100 pages. It's not the Hunger Games.
No.
So, yes, I could see the relation there, but no, not. And even the school aspect, it's pretty chopped up. Like, yeah, they're in school, but there's not a lot of classroom stuff going on so much, and it's broken up with the trip to Sus.
Yeah.
Or Seuss, whatever you want to call it. Kids say Sus these days. But, it's broken up with that. It's broken up with, like, different trips to different places and whatnot. So I didn't necessarily feel like it was a school-centric book, necessarily. Well, let's get into some categories. Stock up, what do you got?
Stock up getting a significant injury, or another way to say this is stock up to time traveling and teleportation, because In this book, this has like 3 to 4 major injuries where they're all around the Angus attack. So I think the first one, he passes out from loss of blood. The second one was when the guy's doing like the big weapon in the space, and the guy kind of commits suicide, but he shoves the knife in him type thing. He passes out from there. All of these times he does this, he's like on these long journeys and travels, and then he just wakes up in his bed. I'm like, that's awesome. We both just took long trips. If you could just get in a boxing ring right before, get knocked out, I took 2 Uber rides, a 2-hour train ride, a 6-hour flight, and then finally was in my bed. If I just skipped forward to the part where I'm just in my bed, a little bit of headache the next morning, sign me up.
Oh,
right?
got it. So you're talking like when like the transverse or whatever that thing is, like that crashes. He just
wakes up in a bed.
Yeah.
A 10-hour travel trip down the road, and then the same thing happens when he kills the guy in the square. Maybe he took that whole long like horse and buggy ride there. He just wakes back up in his place, nice and comfortable, and I'm like, that's awesome. You don't have to travel back. You missed the worst part of any sort of trip.
Yeah, like
good deal.
Kill Melior 100,000 times, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it.
Getting knocked out, getting a 6-foot injury, good deal.
Yeah, in reality, it's probably more like for like 10 minutes before you pass out.
Yeah.
My first stock up was Stranger Things season 5.
Oh, okay.
You caught up?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
No.
Are you a Stranger Thing?
I watched the first 4 seasons. I started watching the 5th, and I was like, I think it's one of those things you just got to commit, but I was like, these actors suck. I couldn't tell if I was
any specifically that you think are not good?
I think also because I've seen a lot of interviews, but I do not think that Wolf Finn dude, whatever, that guy is not. I think just his personality is terrible. Yeah. I think he's a terrible interview personality, and then Will is obviously awful actor.
Yeah. So for us, our conclusion, I actually think Mike's a good actor. I haven't seen any interviews, but
his interviews are pretty bad.
Will is terrible actor, terrible, and he's unfortunately kind of a main character. I mean, he's always a main character, but he's like really a main character in this one. And they cast these kids when they're like 8. You can't hit home runs like you do with Harry Potter. Like that's just how it's gonna work. But he's not very good, and we're not a big fan of 11. She's does.
Oh, really? I thought she was always a pretty good actress.
Well, they also maybe it's just like the direction too. Like they're doing weird stuff where like she didn't know English, and then she had this interesting speech, and then all of a sudden she'd be fine at speaking, and then she'd go back into like. Me hungry one time. It was like, wait, what? She was just totally fine with it. So they did get rid of that in this one. But the reason why Stranger Things season 5 is a stock up is because in this season, things get a little more complicated, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, of course, but they get a little more complicated. The science stuff is coming in, with the whole upside down and the right side up, all this stuff. So what do? They just have characters spouting exposition every single scene.
Basil?
Yeah, it's straight Basil exposition. It's just, someone will be like, oh, this thing is crazy. And they're like, well, of course, that's how this works. And explaining everything. And I don't really necessarily like that so much in a show or in general. But at the same time, I'm not the brightest guy. I can use... and I'm okay with a little hand holding, especially through this one. A related stock up is Blades of Glory. No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. So the book, obviously we're talking about a story. It follows Viz. Viz has something about him that we haven't learned yet that makes him unique. I mean, we know he's not going to seed Will, but there's more to it than that, clearly. There was a cataclysm, which is some epic event happened, and the hierarchy was created out of that. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, there was like all these stuff left behind that they then used in order to...
Yeah, so there's a pre-cataclysm relic that all the kids have to touch or seed their will to or something, and then that allows them to seed will throughout their life, which is a part of the thing. That's called like the Eutychium or something like that. We're going to be terrible with the names in here. Granted, I listened to it, so I'm going to go off what the narrator says, but even
I looked
then
at
I
Wikipedia
forgot.
And I was like, what are these words? I have no idea what these are.
as I'm trying to buck up on characters, it did not help because I'm looking at the character names and I'm like, oh, no, I don't know that one. That is not it.
If I read this book, though, it would be a massacre. I mean, the names I have for Harry Potter, because I read that book when I was young, are not even close. Hermione, Malloy, I called Malfoy. It was Quick-Titch, I told you always. Yeah. So I would even. Can you imagine what I would be saying for these ones? I just have names I made up completely.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because my brother-in-law is reading. We spent the time together over the holidays, and he's reading Harry Potter to my nephew. And so they'd be hanging out, and he'd be reading it. So obviously, I'm like, yeah, let me, I'm gonna get crisscross. Yeah, I'm gonna get crisscross applesauce and get involved in this.
Right. Of course.
So he's talking about Moogles, and I'm like, what the fuck are Moogles? And
is that a Canadian accent?
I was like, those chips that are shaped like cones, those corn chips. And he's like, those are bugles.
Oh, bugles.
I was like, yeah. Well, what's the difference here? What are bugles? So he's saying Mugles. He's saying Hermione something. I have no
Hermione's
idea.
Fine.
It wasn't that, but he's got a lot. It went way beyond that. And so I was just laughing as I'm trying to read these characters in this book thinking, what the hell would he do with these? Yeah. Because my God. But okay, so the hierarchy is broken into a senatorial pyramid. We got military, government, religion. They're some reason at odds with one another, like they're all vying for power or something. I don't really understand why.
It was kind of like World War II. We all came together and the production and everything was all set towards beating the Nazis and everything like that. So everyone's together, and then once you have all this money and power and everything set up, it's like, all right, now we got to start doing some infighting. It's like, all right, like that's I think what they're saying happens because everything was conquered and everything.
Yeah.
So now they're like, all right, now we need to start playing politics.
Got it.
To see who gets everything.
And then there's the Anguis, who are like the rebel alliance to get the hierarchy's empire. Granted, they're not necessarily like good, like the rebel alliance is.
Well, we could debate that also. So,
but we don't really know. Yeah, we don't really know. All we know about the Anguis is that the guy at the end.
No, I'm talking about Star Wars. Oh. Who says the rebels are good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Never thought about it like that. But the Anguis, the only thing we really know is that it might be potentially led by this guy who had the scar at the end, who also had some supernatural powers, and who presumably had been through the gate. So, or he's from a different place. I don't know, but there's the Anguis. And then there are people at different levels. And if you're at a higher level, you have access to the will of those at lower levels. And at lower levels, you have to cede will to the higher levels. And it's kind of gets a compounding effect where if you're
was it like square rooting, or was it Fibonacci sequence, or was it, the only reason I know that's because of Tool Song, or was it like something else? What was going on there?
Yeah, it was definitely a multiplier of some sort. Where
okay, I bet like in the book they have like a picture of it with like the pyramid and like here's the square roots of each of them.
Yeah,
as I go down.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we talked about when you're a kid, you go to the Aurora Columni, which is the pre-catechism relic that you have to cede will to or some shit. And then there's a school for rich, important folks, kids, that pretty much like sets up the future leaders, and your rankings are based on skill, knowledge, and your placement in the Eudocia, which is at the end of the year competition. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much the gist of the story / a little bit of how this thing is built. But then there's so much more, which is equally awesome and confusing. Do you agree or disagree?
The prose and everything that's going around it makes it so it's simplified, but it's like not super hard to understand. Like Dune, like I mentioned it as the example. Dune, I was like in the middle of like chapters, I'd just be like, I got to go back and reread. I don't know what I read. I just read like a page of something that doesn't mean anything. No, it just washes over me. Where this is like, I'd be 8 hours in and I was like, oh, I didn't feel like I did that much. I also knocked this out in chunks, and I will say, if you are someone that liked this book and you're considering reading any books in between the second one, I would 100% not do that, because the second book literally does not make one reference to the first. It just goes right in like you just finished the first book. I'm like, I don't know. You read the first one, you really liked it, and you're waiting for the second one to come out, which it just came out. I have no idea how you would remember what happened in the first one. I'm a month out, and I'm like, I don't remember what happened in the first one at all.
Yeah.
It goes right into it. No backstory. No like, this is Vis. You remember Vis from da 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 da.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just like, goes right into it.
We on this podcast have debated kind of whether we like or hate. I think there's a fine line in between where you can shoot references back to kind of trigger people's memories without just restating the entire book, which some books have done. And
well, Harry Potter, they remember like the second book, they would be like, and Harry is, and they would be like a couple of pages of each character every time they
like you could pick up the second Harry Potter book,
and be fine,
but that I think that stopped.
Yeah, after 4, she was like, I'm a big deal, so you got to reread those now.
Yeah,
like, figure it out.
I will say that if you are one of those people that left it, there were a couple good YouTube videos that weren't hours long.
Okay.
Like one was 40 minutes long. It was some woman doing it, and she did a really good job. But yeah, so Stranger Things Season 5, stock up, because I appreciate the exposition. I can use a little more explaining. I mean, there's a lot more that we may or may not get into, but...
well, I'm glad you came with the knowledge, because all my stocks and everything I talk about is just lighthearted tidbits from the book, and don't really dive deep into anything, so I'm glad you actually have provided some sort of content.
Yeah. What do you got for next stock up?
Having a meaningful job stock up, I always kind of think about how just... my job is more just a cog in a machine, and I'm not really doing much in the way of meaningful work.
Yeah, of course.
When we were working together, and I still am upset about it, thinking about it, is that I would tell people that we worked with, I said, someone will come up and say, well, what do you do for your work? And I don't have a great answer for that. And everyone laughed at me, and I was like, what's the answer? And everyone's like, well... And then you just spit out some fucking jargon-ass bullshit and be like, so obviously, and I was like, yeah, but that doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm in the job. So, like, I was the person that I'm telling this, and they're like, sweet kid, you just don't get it. And I was like, no, I get it. I don't think you get it. I'm still pissed about thinking about that. But anyways, yeah, I don't really have a meaningful job. I don't know if this is just a coming to Jesus moment.
Yeah, I think you're having one
right now. But the reason I say that, and it's the reason it's as a stock up, is because... yeah, my job doesn't make sense, and I can't really have a tidy soundbite for it. But at least in this society, you could be like giving up your actual will, your fucking blood, sweat, and tears, and that's like used to like turn a light switch on or some bullshit. Can you imagine being like, yeah, I like can't think. My IQ and my strength are cut in half, but at least that the light that this
street
big
light
house has, is lit up. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. So. Yeah, so, we have meaningful jobs, so, yeah. Nice.
It's like, Keith, why are you drooling right now? It's like, sorry, there's a transvect that's going from New York to Boston, and all of my power is there, so
there's like a little ramp that holds it up briefly for 5 seconds. I'm putting all my power into that one thing that's used for 5 seconds. Like, oh. You're just basically 12 beers deep, right? When you're like giving up will. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Imagine you're driving a car around, and all of a sudden someone saps on your will, and you're like, oh. Also, does it work remotely? I don't really understand. I guess I don't really understand how seeding will works. Like, are you just chilling all of a sudden? You're like, I gotta take a nap. Like, if you have Lyme's disease 24/7, is that what it is?
I get into the next one a little bit, but it's even more confusing.
Because there are people that are in the sappers, right? So they're in the sappers. So they're
sapper stuff I don't know at all.
They're clearly just that will is getting sucked out of them like straight Vecna did to those little children. Spoiler alert. But outside of that, if you're just a person seeding your will, does it just you're just walking around and all of a sudden you feel a little light and you go down? I don't know.
I think it's at all times. I think it's like you're good. I don't think it's just all of a
that's
sudden.
just your life.
Yeah.
You're moving at half speed all the time.
Yeah.
Got it. And then they're harnessing it and can use it or not.
Yeah, they have it's like a Simpson game, and you have the special attacks and stuff like that. I think they can just power up and use it when they need it.
Got it.
So
okay,
that's why their eyes go like black. So when he's fighting the guy, in the early thing when he's like a fighter and he's like the guy's eyes are that's when he's like, all right, I'm gonna go power up and fucking punch you through a wall right now.
Yeah, which leads me to my next stock up, which is fight naked. Vis goes in there, strips down, gets naked, and greases himself up like a pig.
Yeah,
asserted dominance. Get naked, assert dominance. It's pretty much what happens, right? He wouldn't have won if he wasn't naked and thus asserting his dominance. The other guy was, you're in a room full of people, you just decide to get naked and oil yourself up. Imagine if you were in like a street brawl Granted, this is hard to imagine. Neither of us would be in that position. You know, you get out of a bar, you're in a street brawl, and some guy just gets naked before he's about to fight you. I know I'm losing. Bottom line. That's it. It's over. So,
for sure.
And I want to know where Viss learned this move. Like, where did he learn that in a serious fight you should take all your clothes off? Yeah, I don't know. It's in the history book somewhere, probably.
It's also a bigger advantage if you're way above average or way below average in terms of your body. You know what I mean?
Any specific parts?
Well, you can make up your own mind on that. But I'm just saying, if you're just an average-looking person, then who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, whatever. It's not. You'll eventually just kind of like blank it out. But if you're well below average or well above average, and physique and all other things,
you're talking like Azamat in the Borat movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then it's either disturbing or like your curiosity. You're like, what the hell? Or you're intimidated. One of the two. So
yeah,
I think if you're just an average, it doesn't really fly. I'm wondering where he lies in that spectrum. Because I assume
he's got to be at the top, right?
Oh, okay. I love that. Yeah. He had like 2 fists and a 2.5 fists, if you will, just fucking throwing around there. Maybe an extra leg.
Do you have any other stock up?
I don't have any others.
I got 2 quick ones. One, moving up and down in grades freely. That's a stock up there. So in the school, they, based on how you're doing at the time and whatever's going on, you can move up and down grades. So if you stink or something, they'll kick you down a grade. If you're good, you go up a grade, whatever the case is. You can go up multiple grades. I think that's kind of interesting. I kind of like this idea. Imagine if you're in elementary school and you're super advanced. It's like, oh, just, you're going up to, you're in 3rd grade now, you're going to 4th grade. It's like, oh, cool. You go into the 4th grade class. Teacher's like, you're actually kind of an idiot. Back to 3rd grade for you. It's just always moving. The classroom's always going to have different people in it. Things are going to be changing. It's not like, oh, everyone graduates when they're 18. It's like, I graduated when I was 15. I graduated when I was 37. You just never know how it's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the only thing I would add to that is just because you need some camaraderie around with your grade, I think is important. So you have almost like your classes and then everyone has like a lunch break for certain hours or times or something with your class, or there's a recess period with just your class. So you're still building that up because the social aspect is most important then anyways.
Yeah, maybe gym class is just your birth year so that there's no size issues going on in the locker room.
Yeah, but I do think that you should, what's the chosen, I guess that's the communist thing. What is it? The right profession for the right person at the right time or something, whatever it's called.
No, you've been reading a lot of Lenin or something?
Yeah. Communist Manifesto. Yeah. It's just on the nightstand, so no big deal. Yeah.
My last stock up was Field Day at School stock up. This book just had me thinking about it with the last thing they do, the Yuda, Kaida, Huda, what? What the freaking, why did I forget what it's called? The Eudokia or whatever. Eudokia, whatever it is. It just reminded me like Field Day at School. Like they're all going out. There's a competition. You got to get the stone. It's like you're playing capture the flag or something. Get the stone and return it. There's teams and whatnot. Did you ever do Field Day when you were at school, like at the end of the year? It's like
the
best.
Field Day. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
The school year's pretty much over and the entire school goes out and there's, water balloon fights and all like dunk tanks. You just, there's 3-legged races, all the fun stuff, and it's just you and your boys or gals hanging out, having a laugh. It honestly, that's the best time. When they say, I wish we knew we were in the good times when we're in them or whatever the case is, that was it. Field Day. Yeah. Love it. So it just got me thinking about Field Day. That's why I'm not bringing it up.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Stock down, what do you got?
Also, it's from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. There we go. Anyways.
Who said it?
Karl Marx.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Communist Manifesto. Stock down calling someone's bluff.
Oh.
Seems like there may have been an easier way for them to check whether Viss was using will or not. The whole, what we should do is corner him in a street alley and beat the shit out of him to see if he uses will. It seems like that is a little bit of an extreme way to determine if someone's cheating. Yeah. And then he gets like a simple like, oh, our bad. What? That's it? Like, bro, I just fought for my life here. I thought I was gonna die a second ago. Like, I'm gonna not be able to sleep at night now. And you just get a my bad. I also just thought this could be used really well. Like, let's say the example that you can go up and down a class, right? I'm at the back end of my class. I see Johnny over here, and I'm like, fuck this Johnny kid. I don't like him. And I just go and tell someone, yeah, he's using will. And they're like, oh.
Let's beat the shit out of him.
Beat the shit out of him. Doesn't use will. They're like, well, you're kicked down to the next class. And I'm like, all right, cool. I was going there anyways. Who gives a shit? Like, yeah, I just
If you're the
beat up
bottom of
Johnny.
the class, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no loss for me then. So I'm just going to just start pointing fingers. It's a witch hunt. I'll just start pointing fingers at everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like it. My first stock down is Lost Season 1 stock down.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think I'm mostly jaded from the early Lost seasons with stories like this, because in those first seasons, it's like where a ton of crazy shit goes down and you're freaking out the whole time. That was crazy. Oh my God, that was wild. Why is there a polar bear here? Why is that bird saying Hurley?
Don't worry about any of those things.
There's,
Do not worry about that.
and I think one of the problems with it is that they inundated you with it. There was so much of it that you lost track of all of the things. I used to be reading message boards or whatever the case was, where people would say, oh, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this vault mean? And so they were all in my head, but then by the end of the series, it feels like a bunch of it just wasn't answered, which is funny because I saw an interview on social media or whatever with Vince Gilligan about Breaking Bad and how in the last season he wanted to put that M60 in Walter White's trunk in the first episode. And I don't know if you remember, it doesn't really matter if you do, but it was a little bit of hubris on his part where he was like, it's just super cool, let's do it. And then the rest of the season, he was like, holy smokes, how am I going to explain this? He was beating himself up nonstop over how he was going to work in the M60, that it was like realistic and made sense.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems like the Lost creator people just kept throwing that stuff in there and be like, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
People will forget.
Yeah, but how it ties to this is I have no idea if that's going to happen with the Will of the Many, and likely it won't. I think this guy knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he's a good storyteller for sure. But I still needed a little something more in terms of, I don't know if it's closure or explanation or whatever in this first book, because it seems like all he did for the most part was just create a ton of loose ends. He's got 3 or 4 total books, who knows how many really, that he's going to have the opportunity to tie all these together. So I think he will, but it's just hard for me to then keep track of all of those things that I'm interested in while also enjoying the story itself. Like the Melior murder, for example, that we talked about when he goes to the festival or whatever it is. So there's a stylus, which is what Melior ends up killing himself with. That stylus has powers or something, and Viz's blood was put on that. Does that matter? There's been a lot of stuff with Viz's blood, like, oh, he jumped over this fence, and they made it clear that he lost blood when he did it. It was like, oh, like he left some blood on the fence. It's like, oh, okay, his blood's there. And then it's like, oh, some guy came in to test him, and they took his blood. It's like, oh, you've mentioned his blood like 7 times, so is that going to matter? Probably. But then like during the Melior thing, also Viz gets visions from Melior, including a big black pyramid. Like, what does it all mean, Basil? And this is just one specific section. Yeah. But for those that have read the book, I'm sure you're aware that this kind of happens throughout. There's all tons of stuff. I mean, talking about when he goes into the chamber or whatever, it's like the door to Odakium is lost, the gate is gone, synergy will not happen. It's like, what is happening? So it's not necessarily, I like that stuff, but one, I can't even remember the words. Like, it wasn't even synergy, it was something else. Yeah. So when they do pay off, am I even going to remember what we're talking about to begin with? So I think that's my concern.
And that's kind of why at the opening I compared this to Mistborn and Name of the Wind, because on the one hand, Mistborn, we read the first book. I did think the Mistborn actually had a pretty good wrap up of the first book, if I recall correctly. Yeah. It was his own story, but there was like so much stuff that was thrown in there that you're like, am I supposed to worry about that? Do I need to know about like? And then by the end, book 3, he literally closes every single loop. It's like, here's all the reasons I put all this stuff in book 1, and here's the answers to all these things. And it was like pretty extravagant amount of detail and things that he Easter eggs. I think is something we like stocked up back in the time after reading book 3, because he really did plant a lot of breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, and I haven't read any of the Name of the Wind books after, but
I think they've only done 2.
in Name of the Wind, it just open-ended, and then it was similar to this, where it was a school, and then I heard, like, he made a book 1.5, and then the book 2 wasn't very good, and so, like, nothing ever really came of any of that, so I'm hoping, because this guy apparently has other series before this that are pretty good, so I'm hoping that, like, I don't think he just is a dude that just writes an open-ended first book and then says, we'll figure it out after that.
I mean, don't spoil, obviously, the second book, but are you getting some of it? You know,
I would say second book gets more complicated.
so that's my concern. It's like you've already built up all this stuff. Like, I kind of like when they build it up. I feel like what Mistborn did was they built it up, explained a little bit of it, but then left a little something. We're like, okay, hold on, wait, and then it moved on from there. Where then it,
to be fair, my
going.
head was spinning just as much in Mistborn for the first book as it is in the first book of this one. So that's why I'm like, I liked Mistborn, but the payoff was so good that it made it way better at by the end.
But also, the backbone of Mistborn is a heist book. You know, like there's a heist going on.
Yeah. You're right.
So it's like, okay, cool. Well, at least there's this heist going on, and there's also all this crazy lore that's built and world building going on. It seems like this book is all lore and world building, and not really a ton. Like, I don't know any of the characters besides Viz and his 2 buddies, and one's dead. Like Aiden and his other buddy, that's it. We don't know what's going on with any other characters. I guess who's the leader of the place? We kind of know him and Virtuvius or whatever his name is, and we kind of know his adopted dad. But there's not a lot of characters that you know what's going on. Whereas Mistborn, it's a heist, and they all are like heist characters. You know, so you know the characters based on that, and they have relationships outside of just their relationship with the main character. This one, we don't really understand any of that. I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on it. I'm just trying to, like, I'm hoping that it all pays off.
I think.
Because some of it's confusing. Did you have any other stock down?
Last one, stop me if you've heard this stock down before. Downsizing the movie stock down.
Your favorite. Movie's not that bad.
Oh, that is insane. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Such an awful movie. That movie in particular, and there's a lot of movies like this now, they just really try to jam a message down your throat, and the story is so stupid after that. They're just like, this one, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like, and again, this could be my own cynical mind, but it does a really good job of, there is a lot of underlying themes and a lot of parallels between this society and I think ours in terms of power and money, and a lot of like how people move up the ladder, where you kind of, if you're on the bottom rung, you really have to sacrifice everything just to get by, and like you're basically giving up your freedom, your will, all that just to help out the fucking billionaires at the top and the CEO.
Yeah, and who goes to the school? It's only the powerful people's kids.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, there's no way to really move up. And so, like, people are like, oh, yeah, well, I'm giving up will, but that allows me to eat dinner. You're working a shitty 8-hour, 10-hour job every day just in order to, like, eat food. And I was like, oh, this is kind of depressing. I mean, again, that's more of my depressing mind, but I thought this society and the way everything was built kind of did reflect that, and it was a very clever way of doing it, I thought. And again, it's not shoved down your throat of like, this is what the real world is. It's a mirror. It's just like, no, this is a fantasy book. Oh yeah, there's also probably parallels to real world, like you could take from this.
I see what you're saying.
I really liked that fact, and I really did think, I guess it was my love, but like, it is a super original idea. Where like the will of many, I didn't think was going to be an actual, almost like Mistborn formulaic science behind it, right? Like the will part, I didn't think that was going to be something that actually comes into play, but it is, I thought, really, really interesting how they did that.
Yeah, I did just look up downsizing. I gave a 0.5 out of 4. So
that's too high to be fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I watched it because you hated it so much. So I don't know if your opinion
you probably gave it an extra
in
0.25 for comedic effect. Like, you're like, all right, this is pretty bad.
I liked the Asian character. She was
Oh
great.
my god. You out of your mind? Oh,
She's
my
good in other
goodness.
stuff. She's good in other stuff.
I see her in other things, and I'm like, why do I hate her already? I'm like, oh yeah, downside. Which somehow Matt Damon got a pass on that because he is him and the dude from Inglourious Bastards is in it.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah. How do you have those two in that and make an absolutely terrible movie?
I mean,
Oh my
they're both
God.
just Matt Damon's cashed a bunch of checks, which I don't hate on him for.
Yeah.
Great Wall, good for him. Awesome. Glad.
That was
Cash a
realistic,
check.
no? Isn't that a real history? That happened in real history, no?
I watched that movie. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Like, what is this?
You like Last Samurai, though, at least, right?
Last Samurai's phenomenal. What do you mean?
Yeah,
that movie's
yeah.
sake. Yeah. It's apocryphal, but it's awesome. It's not based in history, but it's amazing. Yeah, I think what's interesting is the society they've created, this hierarchy society, is clearly to the reader not a good society for the people. It seems like a stopgap for whatever happened, after the cataclysm or whatever, like things just went to shit and then they're trying to figure it out. But it's been going on for a few hundred years, and this is the society that they've decided to create. And I think even at one time, Viz doesn't align with the whatever the freaking people are called. That's the problem with having such terrible names, is I'm never gonna remember what they are. The Arduous, the Arduous, Anguis, the Anguis. Yeah, he says at one point to the Anguis, like, okay, what are you gonna do when you take over? It's like, well, we're gonna, get the right people involved. It's like, okay, so you're not changing anything. You're just putting your people into the the prominent spots. Yeah, it is. It's unless you're watching Ken Burns' The Revolution talking about America, like, god damn, that thing is great. Just the idea that they created something totally unique is wild. But yeah, so it's interesting. The society that is in the book is interesting because as a reader, you're like, hey, this isn't going to work, but why is it here? What's coming? There's a lot, once again, there's just a lot more questions. Mm-hmm. My last stock down, all your eggs in one basket, stock down. Quick one, really. So Belly stakes her entire reputation around being good at Foundation, and then Viz beats her and she's toast, literally dies in the labyrinth. But yeah, it's just probably not good to, like, your grade. The reason why you're in this grade is because you're so good at chess, which is pretty much Foundation is their strategic version of that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like Belly's the best at Foundation that no one even will attempt to play her. So do you just go in and just, once again, like your thing before about calling everyone out, witch hunt, just do the opposite and be like, I am unbeatable at Foundation. If you even play me, you will go down a grade. Like, that's how good I am. I will mop the floor with you. And because of that, they're like, put her in grade 3 or put her in level 3. She's the best.
Can you imagine, though, if you lose that?
Yeah, that's your whole reputation.
I don't like playing chess is because every time I lose, and I'm not very good at chess, but anytime I lose, I just think about how stupid I am. And I really, it's like, I take it so, I mean, I do the same thing in Monopoly, too. I'm like, I could never make it in real estate. I fucking am an idiot. Chess, especially, I feel like is a measurement of smarts. So when you get beat, you're just like, oh, I'm a dumb person.
The reason why I hate chess is because, unlike other board games, I go to bed at night being, there's a area of this game that's related to chance, yeah. and the dice didn't roll for me this time. Simple as that. And I fall asleep soundly. Chess, it's all on me, and I'm terrible at it. So it's just like, no thanks. And I also, there's so many people nowadays, like my little brother, he's obsessed with chess, or at least he was at one point, and he was logging like 5 hours a day on chess.com or something like that. So
that's crazy.
I probably played 20 hours of chess in my life. So he's like, you want to play chess? I'm like, absolutely not. My ego is intact currently. I'm going to maintain that right now.
I mean, that's why you got to love Mario Kart. Everyone's kind of got a chance until you cross that final finish line.
Yeah.
That blue shell could be coming at any time,
Exactly.
It's not all about skill. It's about being the right time, right place.
Or unless it's flip card until that last cup is flipped.
Oh, God. Don't even get us. Kid, we need to get a TM on that before we tell the listeners about flip card,
TM. Do you have a favorite part or favorite storyline in this one?
So I think going into it with the Red Rising understanding is that you typically are like, all right, well, let's get to the school. That's kind of the mindset. Whereas if we really think about the book, the first beginning, I was like, oh, that's interesting that it's going to be like in a prison to start. And then it's fighting. And then it's at a orphanage. And then it's like, we don't really get to the school until I would say part 3 of 5, right? There are 2 parts before that, and then like he gets kind of saved by the Telemus guy, and then becomes his dad, and then basically they're doing the training at home, and then going off and going to that like festival thing or whatever. So there's all this like other stuff that builds that foundation for where like the school has more meaning. Mm-hmm. So I really liked that kind of foundation that's set. I know you mentioned that there wasn't like a ton of character development, but I thought that was good to be with Vis all that period and understand. Gives you like a look at the society from where he started, where he's been, all that stuff. So I thought it was good. What about you?
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that, because a lot of the comments I read online were talking about how this book is slow until kind of the middle point, and then it gets a little faster. Then the last part is like nonstop in your face. I agree the last part is nonstop in your face. It was a great kind of final finish to it. Mm-hmm. But I really liked the beginning of this, this book. I thought it was interesting. Like, I'm learning what's going on. Viz is working at a prison. They got this guy hooked up and they're sapping stuff out of him. Like, what?
Yeah, they're in the middle of it. There's like a bombing of the what's it called, Tesseract thing, or what is that called?
Oh, I just said it too, and I lost it. Yeah, lost it. Yeah, but the Tesseract, yeah. That thing goes up there in the woods. There's people shooting and stuff like that. They're at the gladiatorial place, and that gets blown up, and Melior's doing his thing. Viz gets adopted by some guy who's like, hey, I need you to try to find my brother, and if you don't, you're going into a sapper, but also I love you, son. It's like, wait, what? What is happening?
Compared to the Name of the Wind is they spent like the whole second part of him just like playing a violin the whole time, whatever. Remember? That was like the whole point of the book, and I was like, when's anything actually happened in this book? Anyways,
I remember loving that book. So
it was good. It was really good. But then I think I reread it and I was like, oh, this isn't as good after now reading more fantasy. I was like, oh,
gotcha.
Mind.
Okay, because I remember reading that and being obsessed with it. Like, it's 1,000 pages, and I was like, I cannot wait to get back on the train to commute home so I can read more of this book. I really liked the beginning of it. I think honestly the end, just because it's so fast paced and you're like, wait, what the hell's going on? You just befriended a wild beast dog, like that's cool. And then I didn't even necessarily understand the labyrinth, or like what the remnants were. They were like spirit people that were chasing him or something. I didn't really understand it, but
I don't know why they were allowed to leave that facility. That didn't make any sense to me, but yeah,
well, those weren't the remnants, those were something else.
Okay, I just assumed all of them were like zombies.
Those were like zombies. The remnants were like spirits or something. I don't even know. I don't know. But with the Anguis kind of attacking and killing all the people that were watching over it, that was all cool. All super fast paced, and like all of our characters that we kind of knew were involved. So yeah, I kind of like the end. What about character? Do you have a favorite character, someone you want to crack a can with?
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's a guy that's just a straight Viking with no emotions, Iden, obviously, yeah. He starts off as a Doyle Rolls, and then just all of a sudden becomes, he's just a good dude. So no emotion. So every time I love that. That's my favorite character every time. You know that.
Yeah, exactly. I said tough exterior, gentle interior type of guy. He's always going to win for me. Just ends up being a good hang. Also, if you need some murdering done, he's your guy. He's murdered a couple people. He's still a kid. That's pretty cool.
Sleep soundly at night. After that, easy day.
Yeah. Also, his character, like, it's got to be interesting. There's different parts of this world. Like, he's from the South or something. Got a little of that gingivitis. He's got tattoos all over his body. It's got to be an interesting character. What about love-hate? What'd you love about The Will of the Many?
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned the world building, the kind of the foundation that was set. I really like the will aspect, the pyramid aspect. I think those are all unique and interesting way to kind of use fantasy. And then I mentioned the maze portion and some of that stuff. I thought it was Ender games. There's games within games within games, which I thought was kind of cool.
What do you keep saying games within games within games? What do you mean? There was Ender's Game. There was an arena, and the arena was a different setting every time.
The whole thing was, this is how you're supposed to play the game. This is how this is done. And then he's like, all right, I got to find a way to outsmart the whole how everyone else does, because I'm not going to play it like everyone else. I'm going to play it my own way in order to win. That's what I took from Ender Game. Maybe I misremember it. Does that not what happened?
Well, yeah, no, that definitely happens in the sense that Ender figures out strategically how to
Yeah.
beat the current puzzle that is in the formation that they're doing. This, I feel like this wasn't necessarily showing off that ability. I don't know. That's just me.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Ender's Game. I'm going to keep on saying it. Don't worry about it.
My love, magic school trope, obviously. We all love a magic school trope. We've talked about it. Whether it's Red Rising, Harry Potter, Name of the Wind, I'm in. It's always going to work for me. This is definitely a unique idea, this whole story, this whole world, and I respect that. There's so much derivative content in fantasy, and this is something I hadn't seen before. I also haven't read like a ton of like Brandon Sanderson or stuff like that, and we don't do a ton of fantasy. But we've talked before about how people just rework IP and it's terrible. So this being completely unique and having all of the nuances that we've tried to talk about, I thought was pretty cool. And I respect the effort. I respect the world he's created, whether he was able to communicate that to me well, I'm not sure. But I'm also a dullard, like I said.
Yeah, I also like the alibi. It reminded me of Happy Gilmore when he's like, I'm glad I called that guy. That was the alibi, like he just comes back and saves him multiple times at the end because he saved him early on. So,
and he also tells him, like, he tries to get him not even go in there. He like attacks him to tell him to have him not go in.
So the alibi is gamed up. And then lastly, we haven't mentioned Lannistia yet, but she's just Neo from the Matrix, right? She's like seeing Will around her. She's blind. I'm assuming she's just seeing like the code going up and down everywhere, like for Will, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't even want to ask you this question because you've read so much of the second book, but are there answers for her in it? Just say yes or no. Blink twice.
Maybe.
So you're not even sure.
She's in it, but she's not super in it.
Because she has no eyes, and the only other things that we know that have no eyes are those monstery things that he finds in the place where he's going to the labyrinth. And then they say something like, oh, one, they say, like, if you go through here, you're going to lose something, which he loses his arm. So, like, did she lose her eyes? And also, if you go there and come back, you have to pay for something. So did she go through and come back? There's a lot of questions with Lannistia, and she says she doesn't remember.
Yeah, I can't add anything else.
You can't add anything because you don't know or because you don't want to spoil it?
Yes to both of those.
Wait, what? I'm so confused.
Let's just put it this way. I'm not any more clear on what's going on. There's more added into the story, but I'm, at least by where I'm at in the book currently, I'm not any more clear on why.
But you're almost done with it. You make me not want to read this second book because it's like there are just more questions.
The reviews I read before reading it, it was like he took on a big, I don't know if it was a big chance or something with the second book, or it was like a really hard thing to take on. And I was like, what does that mean? And I get it when I read it now because it's
that's how I feel about reading this, is how you just tried to articulate how you tried to articulate a simple question.
I have a way with words. I don't know if you've noticed that. That's why we do this podcast. I kind of want to listen to our first episode to see if I've gotten any better at speaking. I don't think I have, unfortunately, but here we are.
What about hates? What'd you hate about The Will of the Many?
One big thing was the Office Space bosses. This is at the school. And how many people need to tell him he needs to move up quicker? What are we doing here? He takes that little break or whatever, and his and Lannistia comes up and is like, "You're only in the grade 6 or grade 7. Like, come on, what are you doing? You got to move up quicker." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. I'm trying." Then his dad comes up and he's like, "You're only in grade 7. You got to move up quicker." And then Relocia or whatever her name is, she comes up and says, "I'm like, how many fucking more?" I'd be so pissed at that point. I'd
Billy
be like,
passed the first grade. Oh, what a day! Yay, yay! Billy Madison? When he has the band come after he passes the first grade? Come on, get it together.
I didn't hear the Billy part to start. So.
Billy passed the third grade.
There we go.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a lot of Billy Madison in that sense. So come on, you gotta get to the next grade. It's like, what's going on? And then at the same time, his dad's threatening him with a sapper. He wants him to do all this stuff for him. He's out there risking his neck.
Is it just because he's not 18 yet that he's technically under his, or is it that forever? I didn't understand that either.
Well, he took him on as his heir, so I don't know exactly how that works. But Yeah, it just seems like he could have done it without threatening the sapper. It's like, hey, I took you out of an orphanage. You're now part of this prestigious household. You're my heir to everything. You have my last name, which unlocks all these doors for you. I'm asking for in return is that we are going to go on this quest to find out what happened to my brother. It will be interesting and it will be harrowing, but you're ready for it. It's like, okay, cool. Don't be like, oh, and by the way, if you don't do it, I'm going to send you to the sapper. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
What I was more pissed about was that he's like, go in there. I don't care if you die. You're doing it no matter what, or you're going to sapper. Also, this girl is like not for you. Don't date her. I was like, hey, shut the fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could, if you're going to send me to my death, yeah, you can't then also be like, no, I don't know if I trust her. Like, it's like, shut up. Like, I'm going to date whoever I want. I'm about to die. I'm doing whatever I want before then.
Yeah, and I can see him threatening the sapper maybe at the beginning before he knows how special Viz really is. But, because then you just go back and get another kid and just do it all over again. But once you realize, oh, we actually have a shot at doing it with this kid, let's play nice. Because you don't want him to die immediately because you can't fill those shoes with someone that has the same talent.
He also explains the story to them, and that like even they are like, holy shit, I can't believe you pulled that off. And then like next sentence they're like, but you got to do better. It's like, wait, what? Like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Hates for me, the names, we've talked about it, but oh my God, the names, like, you created this cool world. I totally get it. Do you need to make the names so difficult? I saw them
Harry,
in writing.
Ron, and then you throw a Hermione in,
Yeah, like, couldn't there be one? Like, Viz, our main character.
This is kind of normal.
Fine, fine, totally fine. Yes, it's weird, but I know what it is. But there's so many, and then also all the things have crazy names, too.
Yeah, and then they just throw some Roman shit in there all of a sudden. I was like, wait, what? Is this Red Rising again? What's going on?
Yeah, so the names is really my big hate. I've already talked about some of the loose ends, which I'm fine with. I don't hate them. I'm just saying that there's a lot, so I'm trying to figure that out. And my only other real one is the will of the many. Do we need that many thes? Will of the many? Can we just go with that?
Oh, is it that?
I think it's the will of the many.
Oh, I kind of feel like I combine some of the words when I think of it. Will of the many. Will of the many. The will. Yeah.
Yeah, the will of the many. Just give me will of the many. I'm good. I got it. It's like Facebook. Take the out. Drop the.
No, what's cool? $1 billion. My only last one was just, it doesn't seem like he got enough praise for stopping that mass murderer. The guy killed what they said thousands of people died, and he's like goes up and kills him by himself, and everyone's like patting the back, and then next week they're like, this guy sucks again. I mean, what? You should be paraded down the street for this.
What?
No?
He gets a name, Catanicus or whatever, for whatever that means. He murdered a guy and he gets the name.
Tanosaurus Rex? What do you say?
What
is it?
Catanius or Catanicus or whatever.
That went way over my head. I didn't know that.
They started calling him that, and it was because he had killed the guy.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. All right. Well, name's
but whatever.
Cool. Right.
A name's cool.
I
but
mean,
yeah,
if you better get knighted for that. I mean, is that what it was? Essentially, you got knighted.
Yeah, but I agree.
You better start calling me sir.
It wasn't
like
you wake up back in school and it's like, all right, cool, back to class, Catanicus. It's like, oh, now I got this name. It's like, hold on a second, what? And then whenever he'd go out again, they would just let him go, even though he's presumably the number one hit for the biggest terrorist organization in the world. It'd be like you killed Osama bin Laden and then you're just hanging out in Islamabad. Just this school's like, hey, we're going on a field trip to Islamabad. Like,
I know Islamabad's a real place, but it sounds like a made-up place. Where is that? Muslim land is what it sounds like you just said. I was like, wait, what?
It's in Pakistan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Islamabad. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, Islamabad.
Okay, all right. I never thought about it that way. Right.
Jesus land. All right, what do you give it? Let's do Goodreads rating. So out of 5, what do you give it, and who's it for?
I think when I got done, I was much higher. I think talking through probably is a little bit lower. I'm still gonna go pretty high, probably higher than you. I went 4.25.
Whoa.
Couple of things to think about though. I finished this right after the Reese Witherspoon book, so I mean, this could have been. But I did run through it very, very. I think I did this in like 2 weeks, which is a 20+ hour book.
Yeah, you were crushing it.
Pretty quick. So I was a big fan. I think I mean, I also just like getting back in a fantasy world that I care about, so I liked it. What about you?
Yeah, I gave it a 3.0.
Oh
Maybe
wow,
I'm
that's lower than I thought.
maybe I'm being a dick. I don't know. If I read this book, I'd be like, fine. But unfortunately, it can't be a standalone book. It has so much.
We have rallied against that before, so it makes me a little bit of a hypocrite that I gave it such a high score. To be fair,
If I just read this book, I'd be like, okay, fine, like that was fine, but I don't even know what's going on. Whereas directly after this, I read, because Andy Serkis narrates Lord of the Rings, and I was taking a 14-hour drive, so I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to The Fellowship with Andy Serkis doing it. It's going to be incredible. And yes, Andy Serkis does a phenomenal job, like next level, so good. But that story, I'm like, holy shit, this is fantasy. And there's so much that you don't even understand. They're talking about things that happened thousands of years ago that they just reference in passing. But you almost know that it doesn't necessarily matter. It just gives depth to the story. Like the lore is giving depth to the story and not necessarily mattering to the story itself. So maybe that's affecting my rating too, because I literally read the best fantasy book that's ever been created.
I was gonna say you're kind of comparing it to that.
Yeah,
like,
so
that's
it's not.
gonna be a
I
tough
mean, it's not
comparison.
fair. But I'm just thinking that this as a standalone book in a series, it's just hard for me to give it such a high score. I did like it though. I did like it. I would say, if someone was like, hey, I need a new fantasy book, I'd say, well, I read this. Are you interested? I don't think it's for someone that doesn't read fantasy or wants to get into fantasy.
I agree with that. Yeah.
What do we got coming up next?
Next, we got a reader recommendation here. The Searcher by Tana French. If anyone wants to hear a solo pod of me trying to explain what happens in the second book, I can do that. It'll be about 3 minutes long, and I will be like, I'm not really sure what happened. But the second one is The Strength of the Few, which has just came out if anyone's interested.
It literally just came out.
Came out, I think, in either late November or early December, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the will of the many. Too many does, but we'll catch you for The Searchers.
Indeed.
All right. Bye now.
Bye now.